Well, welcome to today's episode. Today we've got Marnie Wills. She's a multi-passionate entrepreneur, and now as an AI trainer and business strategist, she's on a mission to help non-technical entrepreneurs use AI to reclaim their time, reduce digital overwhelm, and focus on what truly matters: human connection, creativity, and balance. So Marnie, welcome.
Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, indeed. And so, for those of you that might be just joining us for the first time here, stick around for future episodes as well if you're interested in growing your business using AI. And if you're interested in a free growth consultation, just drop the word growth into the DMs. So, Marnie, can you share us a bit about your background and your journey in using AI?
Yeah, sure. So, believe it or not, my background is actually a teacher, and I was a physical education teacher,
At what
and
level?
secondary school. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Studied in Australia and then moved to the UK not long after graduating. I lasted about 8 years, and then as I was a dual international athlete, I was off traveling the world playing sport, which was absolutely amazing. And it was very amateur, so I needed a way to fund myself. So I decided to start not one business, but two. So I went into early years education as well as PT, strength and conditioning, a fitness business, both going really well, able to grow both businesses. And then COVID hit and went
Mm,
online, and I learned all things online business during that time. And for some reason, something really clicked in my head. With learning about sales funnels and learning different ways to market. I was very in a physical world. It was very in person. So learning online was so different.
yeah.
Yeah, it was such a crazy time. I think, yeah, my business knowledge, 10x'd in that 12 to 18-month period. And then I decided after we'd come out of lockdown to franchise one of my businesses, my early years physical education business, and I just struggled to write the copy. And I hired a copywriter who also struggled, and I stumbled upon a tool called Jasper AI, and it has literally changed my world because I think the writing bit I'm not very good at, and just the ability to understand that you can use generative AI, so you can ask questions, you can get it to ask you questions, and you can just go back and forth, and you can tell it as many times as you like that you don't like what it's producing, and it will just keep giving you more and more and more, which is absolutely amazing. Because I think generally, as a bit of a if you're a bit of a pleaser, you don't want to. I don't know, working with a copywriter, I'm like, oh, I don't really like that, but that's okay. You've already spent a lot of time on it. Don't worry, and then you get this piece of
Right.
work back that you don't like. So the fact that you can just constantly go back and forth with a generative AI tool was an absolute mind blow for me. And I think understanding that has changed the way that I now use generative AI every single day. And fast forward to where we are, and I've been doing AI workshops and strategy consultation for almost 18 months now. And even the industry has changed so much in that time. I feel like I'm constantly ahead of everybody, but also constantly behind. It's a very weird balance.
Right. Yeah, because things are moving so fast, and it's like we get kind of a hold of something and we feel pretty proficient at it. And then all of a sudden it either reiterates somehow or there's something else that kind of builds on it or something over here that's going on. I know that feeling exactly. Yeah. And so with the franchising and the business that you had and the copywriting, is that running simultaneously or are you focused strictly elsewhere in your consulting work?
Yeah, so I actually ended up franchising my business, but I fell out of love with the franchising model. So I actually used ChatGPT about 2 years ago to swap my business model from franchising to business partnerships. So now I sell a co-founding opportunity instead of selling the full business. So I have business partners all over the country that help me deliver the program. So I'm very strategic from the top, probably only work about 10 hours in my earliest fitness business. I also used it was Claude at the time to rewrite all my digital assets for my health and fitness business, of which I sold to my trainer. So I exited that business about 2 years ago.
Nice.
Both,
Congrats.
yeah, Gen AI for me has, you know, transformed both businesses and opened a completely different world for me. So yeah, my main time now is spent doing AI training workshops in businesses and business centers, and then a one-to-one AI accelerator program with entrepreneurs who, very aware that we are moving from just using AI to building with AI, and they really want to get ahead in their industry. So I work alongside them to help them do that.
Great. And so when you mentioned that you're working with businesses, are you going on site or is most of your work online?
Definitely both.
Yeah.
I much prefer in person. I'm in person now at one of my clients' meeting rooms. We had a big strategy day today. It is a networking company in the UK. So we were creating custom AI assistants for their regional directors, and the ability to try and match their members in one group with other members within the whole network to try and improve the networking capabilities, which is pretty amazing to be able to do that. It will
Yeah.
allow for me, the use case is very much if you can get an AI to do the matching, means that when you have the conversation with someone, it's so much more human. So much, it's not about should we work together or are you a client of mine or do I know somebody who can be your client? That is out the window. The AI's done all the work for you. It's just like chatting. Oh, our AI suggested that we potentially have the same client or the same client avatar. How do you message with this type of client? And it's just like a business conversation and it's more human. And, I think that's what we need. And I think that's what we need. I think when it comes to business, sometimes it's a bit straight talking here, but I think sometimes it can be really wishy-washy. Like at the end of the day, our time is like, what do you need? How can I help you? What do I need? How can you help me? And
Yeah.
let's work together and make sure we're a good fit rather than kind of tiptoeing around. Some people are really good at it and other people aren't. Yeah. So that's what I was doing today. So it's a bit in person, a bit online, depending on,
I see.
helping with. I definitely prefer in person. It is so much more fun.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it's nice to come back around to that these days. And so is it that, like, for this one case that you're talking about here being on site with you, help me understand, are you building agents for individuals within the company? And then those agents are talking to other agents of other employees in the company? Is that the model that you're doing?
Yeah. I mean, depends where the business is at. I actually have the ethos that agents and automations are the step after you've personally customized your own AI assistants. And what I mean by that is, say you're
Yeah.
in Copilot, an agent in Copilot, or Gemini, a gem. If you're in ChatGPT, it's a project. In Claude, it's a project. So for me, I think the best win for anybody in business is to create your own custom AI assistant. So create those projects, give it knowledge base, give it custom instructions, constantly go back and forth. So today we created an executive assistant for all the directors. We created a thought leader for the business in terms of content. We created a comms director, AI assistant. We created a business operations strategic business partner, AI assistant for the ops manager. And the idea is that because my belief is if we're training agents to go off and make decisions, complete tasks on our behalf, they need to be really well trained. And I don't think we're there if we're using generic AI tools. I think we need to create our own custom AI assistants that we have trained for at least a period of 90 days. And we're confident that it is able to act on our behalf. It knows how we speak. It knows how we think. It knows our outcomes that we want. And then with
Yeah.
those custom instructions, you're able to then put that into an agentic workflow. So depending on where the businesses are in their journey will depend on what type of agents we're using. But my framework is customize, build, learn to build with AI. So whether that's no code platforms, whether that's using agent mode within ChatGPT as an example is building, whether that's artifacts in Claude, whether you're going on Google Apps and creating a little mini CRM for your business, you need to learn to build,
Right.
optimize and build. And then we look at agentic workflows. Where are the agents that you can build for either your customers or your potential customers to use that you're trusting that it has the knowledge base and the instructions you need it to be able to fulfill? Or is it automation agents like take this email, summarize, write our summaries in a Slack, like, those type of automations. I think
Yeah.
for me, I don't touch that in a business until we've done the first two,
Yeah.
customize and build.
Yeah.
Because For me, it's all about the human. Like I could come in and say to a business, you know, you should really do that process and system. And they go, okay. And then they follow the automation, or we create an agent maybe on Lindy that can, you know, be the CMO. But at the end of the day, it's so generic. It's not trained. And unless I can come in and say, okay, customize an AI, a set of AI for each of yourself, an AI assistant for each of yourself to help amplify you in every part of your job. And then, you know, what can you build to make things quicker and faster for yourself, or quicker and faster for your clients, or more creative? Once the leaders in the business have that AI first mindset, they have a AI that they can talk to that's trained and customized, and then they go, oh, I could definitely, you know, create a landing page for that super quick on Lovable, you know, as an example. Once they've got that AI first mindset, then they can go, okay, great, I can have an agent that can do XYZ. But me coming in and saying there's an agent that can do that, and then trying to plug in their systems and processes, of which probably broken anyway, you know,
Yeah.
it's not going to have the same impact as if we've got.
Got it. I think something happened to the connection. Are you still there? Yeah, go ahead and try to refresh. It's still recording on my side.
Yeah, I've checked my connection. It still says strong, but it looks like I'm back.
Yeah, you're back. There we go.
Perfect.
We'll just splice it together. No problem.
Love it.
Love the tech. Yep. Fantastic. Okay, so, and it sounds like a lot of that is internal with this one customer, right? Where it's kind of like each individual within the business is using AI for themselves, well, with your assistants and with the other people in the business and that sort of stuff. But it's to help in their everyday, might be operations or roles and things like that. Yeah, is that right? It's to
Yeah.
work cohesively together.
Yeah, most businesses normally have the same, you know, kind of pillars that they need to work on. You know, most of it is sales and marketing. You know, that's like, you know, you don't have a business unless you can have customers. And then you don't, you know, the next part is once you've got those customers, you got to do the delivery. So then, you know, that's the operation part of the business. And then the last bit is, you know, how do we then improve the quality of delivery or the outcome or the results? So, you know, that's kind of the customer journey. So it's normally those three pillars, and we normally work in, you know, trying to create AI first workflows in each of those pillars of context for each of the individuals. But I think the biggest issue I find with a lot of businesses is, depending on where they are in their AI journey or AI adoption journey, is everybody's using like a personal ChatGPT account or a
Yeah.
personal Claude, or, you know, they might have Copilot, but, you know, in my opinion, most people go, Copilot's terrible in comparison to ChatGPT, you know. So, you know, they don't use it very well. So then they're using a personal ChatGPT account. And what I say to businesses straight away is, you need to create an AI workspace, just like, you know, you've got everyone on the same email, because at the end of the day, most people are using an AI to create hybrid content. That hybrid content is a human speaking to an AI, and that becomes hybrid content. That is data that is your intellectual property as a business. In you know, I say a few years time, but let's say 2 to 5 years absolute max, businesses are going to be worth triple X what they're worth now if they've got the data and the IP. You know, you can't go and say you want to sell a business. You can't go and sell a business in 2 years' time if all of your IP is in the personal ChatGPT accounts of everybody that's in the team. So you do need an AI work.
Couldn't agree more.
You know, so that's really, really important. So a lot of my job is coming in and going, okay, well, how's everybody using it now? You know, can we create one workspace where you're sharing AI assistants, and then whenever they're still using ChatGPT because we're, you know, it's the most used AI, and that's fine. All you're doing is creating a system of which every time they're creating on an AI, they're sharing that content inside your AI workspace, or it's something that you do monthly. You know, you have your AI, your personal AI write a report of all things that were related to the business that you work in, and then you're then feeding that into your AI workspace. Or if you've got the budget, you create a AI workspace of which, you know, everybody uses. So it just depends on where people are. But it's a lot of what I'm doing at the moment is coming in and trying to explain to businesses and bring in those workflows of which the company own the data, because there are four types of data. There's the raw data, which we're creating right now, which is human to human speech. Then you've got the real data, which is anything that, you know, I've created for my business, you've created for your business, which has been our domain expertise, our knowledge, our experience, and our perspective. And then you've got the hybrid data. It's you as a human talking to an AI and creating. And then you've got the synthetic data, which is the data that, you know, our deep research agents are going off and finding for us, or our digital footprint
Right.
synthetic data. And at the end of the day, if you can't collate that all together in an AI workspace for your business, you unfortunately are going to really struggle when we get to the point of AI agent doing most of our job tasks for us, or, creating a product or service that you need to sell, that's AI powered, because that's where we're heading, and you'll just be behind the eight ball if you can't do the work now. But I completely understand why a lot of businesses, they bury their head a little bit in the sand. They get really overwhelmed. There is so much to know and so much to learn, and you've got an AI tool over here and an AI tool over there. And I love playing with AI tools, don't get me wrong, but I'm not playing with those tools until I have my AI operating system all built up for my businesses.
Indeed. And so is there a sweet spot that you like to work in as far as the business size that you consult in?
Yeah, so I normally like.
Sector, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as an entrepreneur, I love working with other entrepreneurs, the ones that are like shiny object. I want to create this, I want to create that. I absolutely love those. Working with those type of people is always super, super fun. And sometimes I meet my match. Like sometimes I come away and I'm like, gosh, your brain just works double the time that my brain works. I'm like, I really met my match with somebody who wants to do it all. So I do love those, absolutely. But actually, where I feel like I make a really big impact is the businesses that are normally like, 2 to 10, small, wanting to scale. Scale means more manpower or women
2 to
power.
10, what do you mean when you say 2
2 to
to 10?
10
Can you
employees, yeah.
qualify that?
Yeah, sorry,
Okay,
2 to 10
employees. Uh-huh.
employees. Yeah, yeah. Where, it might be a small team. Maybe it's, a consultant, or consultant maybe with a VA or a strategic help, or maybe it's a small team. I was working with a HR consultant the other week. They've got 3 in their team with the ability to take on 2 more. And that's their kind of 18-month goal, or a agency, not social media, they're full creative agency. So they do everything from websites to ads to social media content to it all. I think they're a team of 8, and they're bringing on somebody else and moving to a new office in the new year. So I love businesses that are growing like that, because at the end of the day, they're the perfect size to be able to action fast. It's not big corporate.
Yeah.
It's not like I've got to bring it up the chain. It's action fast. It's make real change. I only have to work with, probably out of the 4, 3 of them, and then they're able to then expand within their team. And I always try to leave a business with one AI officer. One person I've worked with
Yep.
really deeply that becomes the AI officer within the business, that can then, take that business to the next level. And then when they've got to where they are in their journey, and we're hit another leap in, generative AI capabilities, they come back and we do some more work together, another 3-month stint together, and then they go off and they bring their team along with them. That type of concept's really fun, those kind of small businesses. I did work with a corporate a couple of months ago. It was good. It was just, for me, it was, I don't come from a corporate background, obviously being a teacher. I don't come from a
Right.
corporate background. So in my head, it's just so crazy how slow things are. Like there's a meeting for everything. And I'm like, no, just
Right.
send me a voice note. Like, or
Yeah.
even better,
Yeah.
speak to my AI meeting note taker. It can send me notes and then I can talk to it. Like, like in my brain, I'm like, oh, this is just so inefficient, constantly sitting down for these meetings. But how do you people get any work done? Is kind of how
Right.
my brain was
Let's
going.
have a meeting to have a meeting.
I know, have a meeting to have a meeting. And I just couldn't get my head around it. And I just definitely didn't enjoy it as much. And, it's just such a slow process. And one of the directors said to me, yeah, thanks so much for that next proposal. We've taken it to the board. We're meeting them in December, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. I said, just so you know, by next year, by 2026, I will be probably close to capacity and my prices will be 3 times as expensive. But you wait, no problem at all. You
Right.
take it to your board to get it signed off. Like, if you want to pay
Yeah.
people the price, that's totally like, you know what I mean? Like it's that type of concept. So yeah, the smaller businesses I love working with.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely a good sweet spot where you can really find that you can kind of move the needle, as they say, relatively easy, see the change implemented sooner, right? And so everyone's kind of up leveling their game that much faster.
Yeah. And you
Yeah, I
know
couldn't
what's
agree more.
Yeah, and you know what's really great is when you work with the businesses who are like, like the networking business I'm working with today. And what's great about that is that they're also, if they're using AI, leading with the way they're using AI, how we're doing it safely, data, security, how we using it ethically, making sure, that we are when we're putting content out there, it has human domain expertise in there, like just simple things like that. Then they're
Yes.
really leading the way for other businesses, and that's the quickest way to learn, right? Is to learn off other businesses that are doing it and using it. And I think, like, if I can work with businesses that are really kind of leaders in the industry, I think that's the biggest kind of impact without cutting yourself into 1,000 pieces.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's working on that acceleration curve 100%. What about where that's led to some sort of challenges or unexpected setbacks that either presented to you or presented the company because of some sort of AI challenge? And what were some lessons learned around those?
I think there's two examples. I'm not sure if they're AI challenges, but there were challenges in, using what we created. So the first one is, again, she was in HR, but she was a single consultant who works with creative agencies. And I did so much work alongside her to set up her AI operating system, but she actually wasn't using it. And what I realized it was that it's her VA. So she does all the strategy. It's her VA that does the implementation. So, I spent the first kind of couple of months, really working alongside her and then realizing, gosh, she hadn't touched or done anything with this since I left her last. So I'm like, right, who's doing all your content? Who's doing your newsletters? Who's doing the client follow-up? And she was like, oh, Hazel's doing it. I was like, okay, perfect. Right.
Ah,
Book me in with Hazel, like I need to work with Hazel, so it's just really funny. I basically, my business relationship has turned into me training the VAs in a lot of smaller businesses, because it's another author I'm working with now, right? She's about to bring out another book, and she was like, we really crack on with this, but Georgina, my VA, is not back until January. And I'm like, oh, yeah, so there's definitely business owners that really rely on their VAs. And actually, my delivery then needs to be a strategic conversation with the founder. And then
uh,
going forward, either together me delivering to both of them, or having separate one session, with the founder and the other with the VA, doing the doing and actually implementing. Because, yeah, I realized that quite quickly that it's not so much the AI, it's more just the people in charge of the AI that wasn't quite getting there.
yeah.
And then I think the other one was, I'm working with a publishing company in India, and it's a mindset thing. They're very used to hard work, doing things very manually. And
Hmm.
I've had to explain quite a few times, or try really hard to keep reminding them, AI first. Do you have an AI that can do this quicker, faster, better? Like, there is an AI out there that can do this quicker, faster, better. So we did this whole work on lead generation, search, and then humanizing the content, and then writing the emails, but then they would physically check through the spreadsheet. I was like, no, no, oh, we're just checking for duplicates. I'm like, yeah, yeah, but you put that into an AI, because the AI can check for duplicates, or you
Right.
can have an AI. You could have your spreadsheet into a trained AI who becomes your mini CRM, and you just go, yeah, we had a reply from this email, and we'll automate that process towards the end. It's just trying to really encourage them that we have to get away from the little manual things we used to do as humans that we don't need to do anymore. So yeah,
Yeah.
for me, the biggest learning is actually, even though all these tools are out there, all these, the capabilities of AI, of which for generative AI, like, we as humans know like 1% of its capabilities. And the real
Right.
trick is to ask the AI what it's capable of and how it can help us. But actually, the step back for a lot of people is just for them to know and have that AI kind of concept in their head of, like, an AI could possibly do this for me, and for them to remember to do that. Like, I don't know how to explain that, but I guess it's almost like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like to like think differently and like know that there's an assistant for them.
Yeah, like, I don't know, for some of us, it comes naturally. I don't know if it's because maybe I'm a little bit lazy, but I'm like, "Oh gosh, I could probably get something," I don't know, I'm used to leveraging and I'm used to trying to get somebody to help me do that, or I don't know, it's part, I think, of my natural kind of thought process is, "Oh, if I do this, that will take me a lot of time, but if this person's an expert and can do that, that will be much quicker for them." Like, my brain naturally
Yeah.
works like that. So I guess whenever I'm adopting AI, I'm already like, great, there's got to be an AI trained that can do this, better for me. But for people that aren't used to that concept, the doers that just want to do it all, they just go, if I quickly change this spreadsheet, it's like, no, you're still slower and not as smart. And I know that sounds horrible, but actually the biggest value is a human with an AI, not the AI on its own, not the human on its own, but us collaborating together. That is a winning combination. But some people unfortunately need a little bit of reminding that that is the winning combination.
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Kind of like where the magic happens with things. And I think going back to like what you were saying is that where it's probably just deep within the psyche of the individual where they're like willing to either, for example, like relinquish control or think differently or trust or ask for help. And so all of these things maybe something that's like internal with the person, right? Or internal with the person as a business exec or a business role, right? Business employee, whatever it is that they are. And so, like, all of these things kind of come at us. And then, yeah, it goes into like the core kind of mentality of how some people are just accepting the ability to up level by using AI these days, some much more so, I feel, than others. And it's kind of like, especially in a role like you really get to navigate that space and like peel back the onion to find out what it is about that individual and or that department and company on how to really, facilitate the use of AI to do their thing, their service, their product, right? Whatever it might be to get it out there into the public. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my most favorite AI assistants to set up for business owners, especially, or even quite high leaders within a business, is for them to create their own, like I call it, your own bespoke strategic business thinking partner. And I often talk about it as like a business coach, but next level. Like, often, and all of the AI assistants are very bespoke to the industry and the role, but the biggest key information is that you are asking this strategic thinker, business partner, to question you. Why did you do this process? Where could I have helped you better? Or the AI is saying something like, you've customized the AI to interview or ask you a question, and then it's trained to think outside the box for the next level that it can take you to, or the next level of questions that you can do. Like, how you've got this strategic thinking partner to think outside the box. It can question you in a different way. It works out the why you did something. What outcome were you looking for? Could you have thought about it a different way? Challenge our thinking as leaders in business about how we do the processes, because the way we do our processes and our thinking is learnt behavior. Where did we learn it? Is it some learnt behavior from childhood? Are we naturally problem solvers, or are we naturally do it ourselves? Or did the thought process and the thinking come from a line manager that you trained with and they'd always done it this way? It's always this process. It's always learnt behavior. And what I say to a lot of business owners, and especially now we're in this AI transformation, is what got you to where you are now in business. So the success you've got now, the thinking that you had that got to where you are now, is not going to get you to where you need to be. No
That's right.
chance. You've got to change your thinking. And the only way to do that is, in my opinion, is create a strategic business thinking partner in the terms of AI that you questions you. I mean, I try and do mine every Monday and Friday. Talk to my business partner every Monday. I just call my biz partner every Monday and
Yeah.
Friday. Brain dump on a Monday. This is what I need to do. This is where I'm thinking. This is where I'm at. These are where I think my challenges are. And I've trained the thinking partner to question me, go deeper, make me think about the why I use them. Is Simon Sinek's 7 whys, why? Why are you thinking like that?
Right.
Why, and who out there can help you do that? Where can you leverage? Where's your learning gaps? Just lots of questions. And then my Friday check-ins, I have something called a gap and a gains and gaps and gains mindset. Being an athlete, I'm very like, oh gosh, I need to get this result, and I'm still this far away, or like it's very like the gap between where I am and where I'm
Identifying the
going to
gap.
be. Yeah, like I'm very focused on the gap of where I've got to go, but actually, in business, because it is a journey and because little incremental, little wins make big success, where I need to focus on is the gains mindset. What have I gained? Where have I made little changes? Where have I made little wins? And, I know that's a weakness of mine. So I've trained my biz partner to pick up on my gains mindset and ask me questions every Friday. What are the little gains you've had? How did you get that gain? Like really analyze, how did I get that gain? Was it something I did? Was it a conversation I had? Was it something I leveraged? That type of thing. So yeah, every Monday and Friday, have a little convo with my strategic business partner. It's set up in Claude. Claude is my go-to for that AI assistant.
Great. Yeah, I was wondering if there are some sort of things that you've sort of templatized, I guess it would be, for both yourself and then also for clients, because I know that there's some companies out there that have really sort of productized the idea of AI assistants, and some of them are more customizable than others, and some are very segmented into kind of like work areas, and some are completely customizable. When I've had these conversations before, they're basically fully supportive of creating complete agentic models for their customers, their clients, but it's all like 100% customized, as opposed to some of these services that you see that are real products. And I think that may have some limitations because of that. I don't really know. I haven't really gone deep into them per se. But as AI is developing so quickly, I've seen kind of those, that road of like going totally customized or kind of templatizing things. And so I'm wondering where you may be on that scale.
Yeah. I think if I had the time and the energy, I'd probably try and sell more of my templates, but I just kind of use them with my current clients. I do have some templates. So I do have a system called the business DNA system. So that is concept we use to train our AI assistants for the business. And that is a mixture of raw and real data. So human to human conversations, and then real data, which is the documentation that they've built within the company already. And then the synthetic data, so the digital footprints out there. And it's got different sections. And it takes a good 60 to 90 minutes to be able to complete. But once you've done that full business DNA process, that is all of the training that is ever needed. That then becomes the second brain for any AI assistant that you build. So it's definitely worth it. So I do have that process that I use all the time. I also have a process for setting up your own kind of custom instruction builder, because I think that I can come in and I can show somebody how to customize, how to create a project, how to create, a studio agent in Copilot, or how to create a gem in Gemini if you're a Google Workspace user. I can do that, and I can create you the custom instructions with my trained AI, and I can do all that, but then you're relying on me all the time. Whereas if I teach you how to do it and how to build your own instruction builder, then you can create your own AI assistants. You can rinse and repeat the process. So yeah, they're probably my two main things that I go in with. And then everything else is very customized. Again, it's my framework: customize your AI, build with AI, and agentic workflows. And I might get to the point, Mark, where, I can easily template that and then sell that to businesses. Yeah, maybe. But, like we've said quite a few times in this conversation, AI is just moving so fast, and the capabilities, like even
Right.
some of the free resources I had on Perplexity or Notebook LM in my Sten store that I've got, or, I had this AI business guide. I'm like, I wrote them less than 6 months ago. And I remember looking at it the other day and thinking, gosh, this really needs updating. Like it just moves so fast.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you seeing as some possible trends, overarching trends as we wrap up 2025 or maybe go into 26?
So that's a really good question. Trends. I think there's a really big trend at the moment on, and I don't love this trend and I definitely don't promote this trend, but, ways to make social media content. People are trying to automate social media content, right? And I get it, but I have a bit of a controversial thought on it. I think we're already at the stage where there's so much AI content out there. In fact, there's more AI generated content out there than there is human generated content out on the internet at the moment, on social media. Actually, I'll rephrase that, on social media. And I think that's really sad because basically it is AI generated content. So where we got to is it was our human knowledge that created the AI in the first place, the generative AI. And then the generative AI has gotten so smart that it's able to then create on its own. But we're no longer putting in our human domain expertise, our knowledge, our experience, and our perspective on something.
Right.
We're just getting an AI to
Yeah.
create it. Now, I
Right.
have 2 young children. I have 4 and 8, and I do not want.
I've got 9.
Oh, wow.
One kid that's 9.
1 kid that's not 9 children.
Right.
I don't know about you, Mark, but I do not want my 8-year-old or your 9-year-old going to university in 10 years' time, learning off an AI that's only learnt off an AI. Like, we have
Right.
to keep adding, we have to keep
Yeah.
adding the human perspective to it as much as we can. So we can't be lazy creators of content. Yes, it's easy to do. I get it. But at least do a hybrid model of you've got an AI that's trained on your brand, your knowledge, all the things, your thought leadership. I have a thought leader AI that helps me create content, don't get me wrong, but it's never just the AI that's written the content. I've always added as much human domain expertise as possible, as many stories,
Yeah.
thoughts, my perspectives. And for me, there's just not enough of that going on. And we're all looking for, not all of us, but a lot of us are looking for shortcuts. Oh, if I have I mean, there's ethical ways to do it, but say, we take this podcast and we have an AI break it up and then write a LinkedIn post and do this and do it. That's okay. That's data from here. But still, at each point, I still think we should be checking it. We should be adding little bits in because, for me, it's just not enough to have an AI generate all your content, in my opinion. So it's it's a big trend, I think, at the moment. A lot of automations going on with social media. I don't love it. I don't encourage it. Will we ever, get to the point where that stops? I'm not sure. But then, Gary Vee is out there. He promotes that, but he also promotes having human conversations, which I also agree with. And he also thinks social media won't be around in 5 years. So, who knows where we'll be at. But yeah, that's I guess a trend I think that's out there at the minute that I controversially disagree with.
Yeah. I think it rings true with me as well, and I'm of the school of thought where we can use AI to up level our game or to down level it, right? We can use it as a cognitive upgrade or a cognitive offloading. So offloading, think of that college kid that's writing their reports and their big papers and putting very, very little personal awareness into what they're creating, and they're just turning around this research paper. And the cognitive upgrade being where, yeah, they would be taking that and then really internalizing something and doing those multiple drafts and reviews over and over so that they're really connecting whatever pieces of history or something about the science of what they're doing, whatever it could be, right? And also that same thing, just like you're talking about with social media marketing in that sense, or something within a business where we can use it to like just get by, or we could really use it to up level whatever our project is that we're working on. And I think that the people that are going to be most successful in their roles and positions are those ones that are taking it and they're really using it to like challenge themselves that much more every day and to further collaboration. That's a huge thing that I see as maybe a trend that's developing is, so many people coming out with agents and interacting with agents and agentic flows and that sort of stuff. But then really it's like, okay, then what? Right. And so it's like, where's that trend going to take us? And the interaction between how AI and human workers like evolve. Like you were mentioning, right? You like to leave organizations with kind of someone in charge with AI, right? And where, 5 years ago, maybe, I don't know exactly, right? But there was no such thing as a CAIO,
Yeah.
right? And now it's definitely a big thing, especially in like larger organizations. But having that mentality and that realization that like human to AI interface collaboration and how that may really affect the workforce, down to what we're doing every single day, but then also how our company is changed or developing because of it in the work and the services, the products that we're providing. I think that that's just, we're literally at the beginning of so much of that right now that it's fun to think about and easy to get distracted. But I think that there's definitely a space where we need to continue to show the importance and to have it be sort of top level of the people that are creating the different LLMs and things like that at the top level, so that there's an idea of kind of guardrails around things, and then all the way down to the users and the interfaces that we're doing, so that we continue to take ownership for whatever it is that we're being enabled to co-create with AI.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Spot on all of those. And I think one thing to add as well, I have a lot of people who are looking for like AI to be a quick fix for something. Oh, if I have an
Right.
if I
Yeah.
have AI in Notion, it will solve all my problems, or like I'll come and do one session and be like, oh, okay, amazing, great. That's it then. And I'm like, no. I'm like, we are on a journey. There is no destination where we're heading. Like, we don't know where we're going. We do not know what life is going to be in 12 months' time, let alone 5 to 10 years' time. It's going to look so different. We know it, but AI is a journey. You've got to be just constantly up leveling yourself, just like you said, up leveling yourself in the journey. It's not a destination. It's not like, oh, great, money's in, we're done with, we've got the solution, or I invested in this AI tool. Great, perfect. I'm done. We're good. I'm like, no.
Yeah. 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 And so what's it like for you when you either come into a business or just are having a one-on-one with someone? What would you say to people that are more on the hesitant side of adopting AI technologies?
I don't actually work with that many people like that anymore because a year or so ago, probably a year or so ago, I was still very like, this is what ChatGPT can do. This is where we're heading, and trying to convince people to join me. Now I only work with people that are already adopting, ready to go to the next level, like, or maybe they haven't started, but they're very willing to start, and they're like, quick, catch
They're
me
on
up
board.
already. Like I just have realized that I, what's that saying? I don't know if you guys have that saying. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Get drink. We do have
Yeah.
that saying. Yeah,
Yeah. So
exactly. Yeah.
this
Yeah. The
time,
whole idea of like not convincing someone.
right. So this time last
Right.
year, I was leading everybody along and then trying to make them drink. And most of the time they weren't ready. Whereas now I'm like leading them along. If they're not ready to drink, I'm like, see you later. Like, I want to help
Yeah.
you, but unless you're ready to work with me, trust in the process, be open, be curious, have an abundance mindset, then stay there. Stay there and find someone else that wants to make you drink, because I do not have the time to make you drink, because, I got a long list of people, and, I love working with leaders in business that really want to be thought leaders in this space and really lead the way and understand that it's not enough just to be using AI right now. You have to be building your AI operating system with your business. You have to be building with AI, and you have to start thinking about how you're training agents for agentic workflows. I don't think the agentic workflows are great, or they're there yet. I think 6 to 12 months they'll be better, but we can still do all the work now, So yeah, I'm lucky enough now, if I'm honest, Mark, and I'm not saying that to, big myself up in any way. I'm just lucky enough now that I've done a lot of the legwork of bringing people along with me, that now I can get to the point where I'm like, if you're not ready, that's okay. I don't need you to be ready. You know where I am, but I'm only going to work with you when you're ready, because, it's, there's too many exciting things to be done. I can't wait for you. We got to, I'm
Yeah.
ready to work with other people when they're ready.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. Yeah, it's like that boat has sailed. Like, get on the next one, but, like, yeah, the whole idea of the blue ocean and people exploring it, like, yep, find a boat, get going,
Yeah, and
catch
don't
up.
get me wrong, like, I the other day, I was working with an executive coach, and he was an ex-head teacher, moved into executive coaching and consulting, and he hadn't like, he'd not even set up a ChatGPT account, never used AI, ever,
Yeah, oh,
so
wow. Oh, geez.
it's not that I'm not starting from the beginning with people, because I do, it's just he is very ready, he's like, "Gosh, I can make a real impact in the education space." I'm like, "Yes, you can,"
So he sees it.
He
Yeah,
see he sees it, but not in a way which he understands what it can do. He just knows that the education
yeah.
system needs a complete flip. It is struggling massively, and he was in it when all these AI education tools were coming out, like help me create lesson plans and all that. And he understands it's not about that. It's about how do you improve the learning journey, the learning process, the ability to take content or learning material and change it in a way of which it will help other students who have different learning abilities, because we all learn so differently, except for in the UK, especially, it's all academic based, all you're teaching to an exam paper. It's horrendous. There is no like
Oh,
lifelong
yeah.
learning in education. So he's very aware that, there can be a
That's great.
change. Yeah. So, yeah,
He's in that quadrant, right, where it's like he's the conscious incompetent.
correct. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
exactly, Mark, exactly. And I love working with people like that as well. It makes it a little bit easier if they've already started their AI journey and we can excel at a faster rate, but that's fine. I can work with
yeah.
all of them as long as they're ready to go, as in they've got that mindset, you know, they're curious, they're abundant, they're, really, really, really up for a challenge in the way that they think about the way they do life and business now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely in a good spot to get him along that hockey stick curve.
Yeah, nice.
Nice. Well, Marnie, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate your time today. How can people find you online?
Yeah, well, I have a few agents do my social media now.
Reach out to my agent. Talk to my people.
No, no, I love
Talk to my AI people.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love LinkedIn. If anyone wants to search me on LinkedIn, it's Marnie Wills. Send me a DM. Hit me up in a chat. Love to. I am on the other social media platforms, but I don't get overwhelmed on them. So direct contact with me is on LinkedIn if anyone wants to reach out.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again.
Amazing. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet.